Hey guys, it's Aman and Christina from the Our Rich Journey podcast, where we answer your questions about making, saving, and investing money for financial independence and retiring early. I mean, it's up to you. Once you reach financial independence, you can choose to retire early, or you can choose just to be financially independent and working, I guess, with financial independence.
Well, there are people that really love their job.
I wasn't one of those kind of people, and I don't think you were either. But today we have a very cool question from a young couple that is just starting their wealth building journey. They want to know how they should prioritize their investing amongst 4 investment accounts that they're currently investing in.
Yes, so this question comes from Madison. Let's play her question and then we'll get to her answer.
Hi, my name's Madison. I'm 24 years old. Me and my husband, he's 25, we both started investing this year. We have 4 different accounts, 1 HSA, 2 401ks. One of the 401ks has company matching, and then we have 1 Roth IRA. I would say we contribute about $200 to $300 per month per account at this time. And I had one question for you guys. During this time of a bear market, I do see the opportunity of us buying things that get really low out here, whether it's ETFs, stocks, or anything like that. And I'm wanting to know which accounts out of the 4 accounts that we hold do you think is worth building up a bit more during this time? I know sometimes when we're investing, we're always trying to figure out which account is better to be adding more money to, considering, like the tax benefits of an HSA or how much more company matching one of our 401ks could get. I think during this time, it's just a question of which account should we prioritize, or should we prioritize all of them and just kind of split the money up that way?
Okay, I have to say 2 things first. The first thing is that I love that she's focused on her tax advantaged accounts.
Oh, yes.
Her and her husband have 4 different accounts. She listed them all as being tax advantaged, and those are the accounts that she's asking about because she is not at the point where she's maxed out the contributions for those accounts yet. I love that she's focused on that. The other thing that stood out is she is talking about this is a bear market. Stocks are low. The stock market is not doing well. She is a beginning investor. She just said we just started investing. And the fact that she is seeing the bear market as an opportunity to invest, I love that. Investors in general, I love that they would think like that. But as a new investor, I think that is so incredible because you're developing the proper mindset for growing your money. A lot of new investors, they get scared when the market goes down, if the market crashes, if it stays down for too long. But Madison here is saying, I want to take advantage of this. How can I best take advantage of it? And I love that she's thinking that way.
Oh, I love that. I mean, they're only 24 and 25. When we were 24 and 25, we weren't that savvy. So they are way ahead of the game. We did not have 4 tax advantage accounts when we were their age. So they are in such a great situation. And like you said, the fact that they are leaning into the bear market and they're trying to figure out, okay, we have a limited amount of funds. Where should we put this money so that we can take full advantage of this current market? This is such a great question. I mean, everyone should be thinking like this right now. Unfortunately, there are so many people that are shying away from the stock market right now. They see stocks at these levels, they hear all of this negative news, and they think, oh no, I don't want to invest right now. I'm going to come back when things have improved. Well, by then, you've missed the opportunity. This is when you make your money. And for a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, 25, however old they are, they're in their early 20s, they are positioning themselves for success.
Yes. So I want to focus on these different accounts because we were actually in a similar situation, but later in life when we started, because we weren't 24 and 25, but these accounts were the accounts that we also used to grow our wealth. And one of the things that stood out that Madison said is that they have 2 401ks. One has a company match. If there is a match to your contributions into your 401k up to a certain point, that match is almost like a guaranteed return. You put your money in and your employer matches that amount of money up to a certain percent. If you think that you could put money in and someone could match that amount that you're putting in with that automatic return, that's the type of thing that you need to be focused on. Thinking about what is the ultimate return on the money that you invest into these different accounts.
So that's the first thing you're saying. You're saying invest as much as you need to in order to get the match in the 401k.
Yes, I would say that 401ks are interesting in that you have to go with the 401k that your employer selects. So you may not necessarily have all of the different investment options that you would want to have, like you could potentially have in a Roth IRA or even an HSA, because the 401k is selected by your employer. But regardless of that, I feel like with 401ks, there's generally enough in there to have the benefit of putting money in just at least to the match. So my thing was, when we invested, we took our money into our 401k, we invested it up to the match. And then we moved on to our other accounts. For example, 401k match, then the Roth IRA, then the HSA. If you have money left over because you've maxed out your Roth and your HSA, then you can go back to the 401k and put more money into there after the match.
You know, she said something else in this question that I questioned. They said they only had one Roth IRA. Now, my question is, why don't you each have a Roth IRA? Because a Roth IRA, like you said, it's a part of the order of investing, right? You get the match from your 401k, then you move on to your Roth IRA. And for us, we got the matches in our 401k, the both of us. Then we moved over our excess money and we maxed out both of our Roth IRAs, and then we went back to the HSA. Now with the HSA, you can only have one HSA per family. So my question to them is, why don't they both have a Roth IRA? You see, the Roth IRA is such a powerful investment account. The only thing with the Roth IRA is that at a certain point, you're not eligible to invest in them because your income becomes too high. I mean, there are certain ways to get around that, but on the surface, after you reach a certain income threshold, you're not eligible to invest in a Roth IRA. So what I usually tell people is that if you know that your income is going to eventually go up, especially this couple, I mean, they're so young. We know that their incomes are going to go up. There's a window, an opportunity window that they have when it comes to investing in the Roth IRA that they should take full advantage of before they're ineligible to invest in them. So the fact that they don't each have one, to me, that raises the question of why not?
Right. I would say that there are some HSA benefits that they could be tapping into potentially, because sometimes employers may make a contribution to the HSA also. So if you have an HSA, you should know whether or not your employer also makes a contribution to that. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yes, that's actually a really good point, because some HSAs have a quasi-match involved in it. So if you don't take advantage of that match, you may be missing out on that. So that may change the order of investing, where instead of going to the Roth after the 401k match, maybe you're going to the HSA match.
Yeah, so let's break this down a little bit slower just to make sure that everything is clear. What we're saying is that we don't know your exact circumstances in terms of whether you have an HSA match, or maybe you only have one Roth IRA because the other income exceeds that. There can be different scenarios as to why you're doing what you're doing, but what we focus on is getting a match. And the 401k match is generally the first thing that we focus on because it's guaranteed money. But we don't go above the match if we have certain restrictions on the amount of money that we have to put in all of the accounts. If we can't max out all of our accounts, we would only go to the 401k match and then move on to the other accounts, because with the other accounts, like a Roth IRA, like an HSA, they typically have so many more investment options that you can invest in and varying fees. You can pick different investment options with lower fees that you can focus on with your Roth IRA and your HSA, as opposed to potentially what's available to you in your 401k. So there's one other thing that I want to address, because Madison had also pointed out the potential of taking the extra money that they have and splitting it up amongst these various accounts. Again, I think that by taking advantage of the company match, you can get a higher return by doing that versus splitting it up amongst different accounts. Now, one thing I will mention, because we've had people ask us this before, is that if you focus so much on your 401k, what's going to happen if you want to retire early? Because you can't access your 401k early. You have to wait until you're much older before you can access it. But that's actually not true. You can access your 401k early and penalty-free by doing a Roth conversion ladder. This allows you to take your money from a 401k, you move it over to a traditional IRA, and from the traditional IRA, you can move it over to a Roth IRA. That allows you to access the money from your 401k penalty-free. You still have to pay taxes, and there's many more details associated with that in terms of how long you have to have the money in your traditional IRA before moving it over to your Roth IRA, which is 5 years, and the tax implications of that. But I just want to throw that out there because a lot of times we say, focus on that 401k. There's a lot of money that you can put in, and people always push back and say, why would anyone do that? Because you can't access that for, 40, 50 years later. But we are telling you there's a way to access it penalty-free, and it's called the Roth conversion ladder.
I'm going to also mention one other thing about this couple's situation. So they didn't talk about their tax situation, but I think something they should also do is maybe go see a CPA and talk to a CPA about what they maybe should be doing from a tax perspective. Because one thing, when you're a young couple, you don't have kids, maybe you don't own a home yet, you don't have many tax deductions that you have in place. And the nice thing about maxing out your 401k is it can reduce your taxable income. And once you start to get your income down to different thresholds, you fall into different tax brackets. There are other implications that are involved in that only a CPA can really detail for people. And so I would encourage them to go see a CPA, maybe just for a consultation type of visit, so they can run the scenario of, if we max out our 401k first, maybe we don't even look at the Roth IRA or the HSA. If we max out our 401k, what does that do to our taxable income? Will we end up paying less in taxes? Is there a greater benefit by doing something like that? So I think they should also look into this tax question. We're not CPAs, but our recommendation is that maybe they should go see one.
So I really love that you point that out because, again, Madison, we don't know your specific situation. We're explaining to you what we did and the reasoning behind what we did so you can really apply the reasoning. But again, for us, we were married at the time, we owned property, real estate, we had kids, and so your situation may be different. And so maybe maxing out a 401k would be more beneficial for you in terms of the tax advantages versus a Roth IRA or an HSA. And that could be the same for people that are listening. We're all in unique situations, and the tax implications because of our unique situations can be very different.
And it's really important to recognize that taxes can be your largest expense when it comes to investing. I am so excited about Madison's situation. To be young, to be investing, and to be in love is just so amazing. Everything is going so well for them. I can't wait to hear from them later on down the line when they have maxed out every single one of those accounts and they've opened up a brokerage account, just a regular brokerage account, to throw extra money into that.
Yes.
I mean, this is how this journey starts for so many people, right? They prioritize how they're investing and they start to make more money, and they're able to spread that money amongst all of these accounts to the point where they've maxed them out and they're building wealth in other brokerage accounts. They're investing in real estate. I bet you if they keep this up in 10 years, we'll be hearing from them and they'll be financially independent and retired early in their early 30s.
Yes,
right?
yes.
We want everyone to be much more far along than we were when we started our journey. And so to hear from folks that are young and that are already on this journey. We get so excited about that.
Yes, so we are putting that out there in the atmosphere for you, Madison, and your husband. We really think it's incredible that you're in this situation where you have extra money to put into your accounts and that you have such an incredible mindset when it comes to the volatility in the stock market and bear markets in general. We think it's so incredible. So we hope that our answer to your question has been helpful. If anyone has another question, please feel free to reach out to us. We love listening to questions. You can leave us a question at ourrichjourney.com/podcast so that we can answer your question in a future episode. But until then, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you will leave us a review of this podcast, and we will see you in the next episode. Remember that we are not financial advisors and the views expressed by us are solely for entertainment purposes. You must make responsible decisions, and that means making decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you conduct. Thanks for listening.